Most people go to bed every single night, completely unaware that their eyes are quietly deteriorating. Not because of screen time, not because of genetics, but because of what they're drinking, or more accurately, what they're not drinking, in the hours before sleep. Here's a number that stopped me cold when I first saw it in the research. Over 2.2 billion people worldwide have some form of visual impairment. And according to the World Health Organization, nearly half of those cases were entirely preventable. Not treatable, preventable, meaning they didn't have to happen at all. But here's the part that almost never gets talked about in any doctor's office. Your eyes do the majority of their repair work while you sleep. The same way your muscles rebuild after a workout during rest, your retinas, your optic nerves, your lens cells, they all go into active regeneration mode the moment you close your eyes. And what you put into your body in those last 2 hours before bed either fuels that overnight repair process or quietly starves it. Tonight, I'm going to show you exactly what to drink before bed to supercharge your eye's natural nightly repair cycle. I'm going to show you the science behind it, real, peer-reviewed research, not wellness blog speculation. And I'm going to tell you about the 4 biggest bedtime drink mistakes that millions of people make every night that are accelerating eye aging without them ever realizing it. Hi, I'm Dr. Chester. I've seen patients in their 40s with the eyes of a 70-year-old. And I've seen patients in their 60s with vision that would make a 35-year-old jealous. The difference almost always comes down to lifestyle, and specifically, what they do consistently, every single day, every single night. Before we go any further, if you've watched more than one of my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please take 2 seconds to do that right now. It costs you nothing, and it helps this channel reach more people who genuinely need this kind of information. Thank you. Now let's get into it. Why nighttime is your eye's most important window. To understand why a bedtime drink matters so much, you first need to understand something that most people don't know about how the eye actually works. Your retina, the thin layer of tissue at the back of your eye that converts light into the signals your brain reads as images, is one of the most metabolically active tissues in your entire body. Per unit of weight, your retina burns more oxygen and more energy than almost any other organ, including your heart. All day long, it's working at full capacity, processing light, sending signals, dealing with UV exposure, blue light, oxidative stress, inflammation. By the time you go to bed, your eyes have been running a marathon. Nighttime is when the cleanup crew arrives. During sleep, your eyes undergo something called the retinal pigment epithelium recycling cycle. The cells that support your photoreceptors, the rods and cones that let you see, begin repairing themselves, clearing out waste, and preparing for the next day. Simultaneously, your intraocular pressure drops slightly, giving your optic nerve a brief rest. Your melatonin levels rise, and melatonin isn't just a sleep hormone. It's one of the most powerful antioxidants your body produces, and it's concentrated heavily in ocular tissue. This entire process depends on one thing: having the right raw materials available, specific antioxidants, specific anti-inflammatory compounds, specific vitamins that the eye pulls from your bloodstream during those overnight hours. If those materials aren't there, if your bloodstream is running low on the nutrients your retina is reaching for, the repair cycle is incomplete. An incomplete repair, repeated night after night, year after year, is how you end up with conditions like age-related macular degeneration, cataracts, dry eye disease, and glaucoma-related nerve damage, decades before they should appear. So the question becomes, what can you drink right before bed that delivers those exact nutrients into your bloodstream precisely when your eyes need them most? The answer, based on the current body of research, is something most people already have in their kitchen, but almost nobody is using correctly: a specific formulation of warm golden milk with 3 targeted additions that transform it from a trendy wellness drink into a genuine ocular repair powerhouse. Let me break this down compound by compound. The core drink, turmeric golden milk, but not how you've seen it before. Golden milk has been around for thousands of years in Ayurvedic medicine, but the version most people make at home or order at a cafe is missing the specific ingredients that make it work for your eyes. It's like buying a car with no engine and wondering why it won't drive. Here's what this drink needs to contain. and why each piece matters. Ingredient 1. Curcumin, the retina's firefighter. Turmeric contains a compound called curcumin. You've probably heard of it, but do you know what it specifically does inside your eye? Your retina is under constant oxidative stress. Every photon of light that hits your retina triggers a tiny biochemical reaction that produces reactive oxygen species, essentially molecular sparks that damage cell membranes, proteins, and DNA if they're not neutralized quickly. Over decades, this accumulated oxidative damage is one of the primary drivers of age-related macular degeneration, which is the leading cause of blindness in adults over 50 in the developed world. Curcumin is a potent antioxidant, but more specifically, research has shown that it has a particular affinity for ocular tissue. A study published in the journal Investigative Ophthalmology and Visual Science found that curcumin protected retinal ganglion cells, the nerve cells that form your optic nerve, from oxidative damage in a dose-dependent manner. More curcumin, more protection. Another study in Nutrients showed that curcumin significantly reduced levels of inflammatory cytokines in retinal tissue, specifically interleukin-6 and TNF-alpha, both of which are linked to macular degeneration progression. But here's the critical problem most people don't know about. Curcumin is almost completely useless on its own. Standard curcumin has roughly 1% bioavailability when consumed alone, meaning 99% of what you swallow passes right through you without ever entering your bloodstream. You're essentially pouring money and potential down the drain. This is where the first secret ingredient comes in. Black pepper, specifically its active compound piperine, increases curcumin bioavailability by up to 2,000%. Not 20%, not 200%, 2,000%. That's a peer-reviewed finding from a study in Planta Medica. Just a small pinch of black pepper in your golden milk transforms curcumin from an essentially useless compound into a highly bioavailable, genuinely therapeutic one. The second bioavailability hack: fat. Curcumin is fat-soluble, meaning it needs dietary fat to be absorbed through your intestinal wall. That's why you're making this with full-fat milk or a high-fat plant-based alternative like coconut milk. The fat acts as a carrier, shuttling curcumin across the intestinal barrier and into your bloodstream. Ingredient 2. Lutein and zeaxanthin, your eye's built-in sunglasses. This is where most golden milk recipes fall completely short, and it's the most important addition for genuine eye health. Your macula, the central part of your retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision, contains the highest concentration of two specific carotenoids found anywhere in the human body: lutein and zeaxanthin. Together, they form what researchers call the macular pigment, and they function as your eye's natural filter and antioxidant shield. Here's the problem. Your body cannot manufacture lutein or zeaxanthin on its own. You have to get them from your diet, and most people are severely deficient. Research published in the British Journal of Ophthalmology found that people with the highest macular pigment density, meaning the most lutein and zeaxanthin in their eyes, had significantly lower risk of developing advanced, age-related macular degeneration. Not slightly lower, up to 82% lower risk in the highest versus lowest intake groups in some analyses. A landmark clinical trial called the ARETS-2 study, funded by the National Eye Institute, confirmed that lutein and zeaxanthin supplementation slowed the progression of macular degeneration in high-risk patients. Now, why does this matter specifically at bedtime? Because lutein and zeaxanthin are fat-soluble. They are absorbed from the gut in the presence of dietary fat, enter the bloodstream gradually over several hours, and are then deposited into ocular tissue during periods of low activity. Your eyes are literally pulling these compounds out of circulation and building them into your retinal tissue while you sleep. Drinking your golden milk, which contains fat for absorption, right before bed, means the lutein and zeaxanthin are entering your bloodstream right at the window when your eyes are primed to absorb them. The best dietary sources of lutein and zeaxanthin to add to your bedtime drink: a small handful of cooked, pureed spinach blended in, or, more practically, a high-quality lutein supplement mixed in. You want between 10 and 20 milligrams of lutein per serving. The research supports this range consistently. Ingredient 3. Saffron, the most underrated eye nutrient on Earth. If you've never heard of saffron for eye health, you're not alone. This is the ingredient that even most ophthalmologists aren't talking about yet, but the research on it is extraordinary. Saffron contains two primary active compounds, crocin and quercetin. These carotenoids have been studied specifically for their effects on retinal function and macular degeneration, and the results are unlike almost anything else in the nutritional literature. A randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial published in the journal Investigative Ophthalmology and Visual Science, one of the most prestigious eye research journals in the world, found that patients with early age-related macular degeneration who took 20 milligrams of saffron daily for 3 months showed measurable improvement in visual function as measured by electroretinography. Their retinal cells were actually functioning better than before. This is remarkable. Most interventions in macular degeneration research focus on slowing the decline. Saffron was showing actual improvement in retinal cell function. A follow-up study extended the treatment and found that the improvements were maintained over a longer period, and that the placebo group, which had crossed over from saffron to placebo, began to lose the gains they had made. The effect was real, it was specific to saffron, and it was reversible. The proposed mechanism. Crocin and quercetin appear to protect photoreceptors from light-induced oxidative damage and support the function of the retinal pigment epithelium, exactly the cells that are doing their repair work while you sleep. Adding just 2 or 3 threads of saffron to your warm golden milk, or about 15 to 20 milligrams, gives you a clinically relevant dose of these compounds. And because they're being taken in a fat-containing warm drink at night, bioavailability is optimized. Ingredient 4. Melatonin, your eye's own antioxidant. Here's something that will genuinely surprise you. Melatonin isn't just a sleep hormone. It's one of the most potent antioxidants your body produces, and your eyes are one of the organs that concentrates it most heavily. Research has found that melatonin receptors exist throughout ocular tissue, including the retina, ciliary body, and lens. Studies suggest that melatonin plays an active role in regulating intraocular pressure, protecting retinal cells from oxidative damage, and even influencing the progression of glaucoma. A study in the Journal of Pineal Research found that melatonin levels in the aqueous humor, the fluid inside your eye, are significantly higher at night, coinciding with the eye's repair cycle. Lower systemic melatonin levels have been associated with higher rates of age-related macular degeneration. Now, I'm not telling you to run out and buy melatonin supplements. The drink we're making naturally supports your body's melatonin production in 2 ways. First, warm milk contains tryptophan, the amino acid precursor to serotonin and then melatonin. Drinking warm milk before bed has been associated with increased melatonin availability, and this isn't folklore. A review in the journal Nutrients confirmed the tryptophan-melatonin pathway and its relevance to sleep and antioxidant activity. Second, the darkness and warmth cues from winding down before bed, of which this drink is a part, support your circadian melatonin release. More melatonin in your system means more melatonin reaching your ocular tissue during the night repair window. If you're over 50 and your doctor has approved it, adding a low-dose melatonin supplement, 0.5 to 1 milligram, not the 10 milligram doses that most products sell, which are unnecessarily high, to this drink can further enhance the ocular antioxidant protection. The exact recipe. Here's exactly how to make this drink with the specific amounts that the research supports. Ingredients: 1 cup full-fat milk, dairy or unsweetened full-fat coconut milk. 1 teaspoon high-quality turmeric powder. Look for one standardized to 95% curcuminoids. A small pinch of black pepper, just 5 to 10 grinds. This is non-negotiable for absorption. 2 to 3 threads of saffron, crumbled. Half teaspoon of cinnamon. This helps with blood sugar stability overnight, which matters for the retina. More on that in a moment. A small drizzle of raw honey if you need sweetness. Optional, and keep it minimal. 10 to 20 milligrams of a lutein supplement stirred in, or a tablespoon of cooked, pureed spinach blended in. Warm your milk gently, never boil it. You want it at about 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Simmering destroys some of the more delicate bioactive compounds. Add your turmeric, pepper, saffron, and cinnamon and whisk until fully combined. Add your lutein supplement last, after removing from heat. Drink it 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Timing matters. Drinking it 30 to 45 minutes before bed gives the fat-soluble compounds time to begin entering your bloodstream right as you're falling asleep and your eyes are shifting into repair mode. I mentioned cinnamon, and I want to explain why it belongs in this drink specifically. High blood sugar is one of the most destructive forces acting on your eyes. Diabetic retinopathy, damage to the blood vessels of the retina caused by chronically elevated blood glucose, is the leading cause of blindness in working-age adults. But even in people without diabetes, blood sugar spikes cause a process called glycation. Sugar molecules attach to proteins and damage them. Inside your eye, this accelerates lens clouding, stiffens retinal blood vessels, and damages the delicate cells of the macula. Your blood sugar naturally fluctuates during sleep. Cinnamon has been shown in multiple clinical trials to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce post-meal blood glucose spikes. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of Medicinal Food found that cinnamon supplementation significantly reduced fasting blood glucose levels. By adding half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon to your bedtime drink, you're helping stabilize your blood sugar through the night, which means your retinal blood vessels are spending fewer hours in a high glucose environment, reducing glycation stress on some of the most delicate tissue in your body. The 4 bedtime drink mistakes destroying your eye health. Now let me be direct about what people are doing wrong every night. Mistake 1. Drinking alcohol before bed. This one is common and genuinely damaging. Alcohol is a vasodilator that initially expands your blood vessels, including those tiny capillaries in your retina. But it's also a diuretic and a toxin that depletes glutathione, your body's master antioxidant. A study in JAMA Ophthalmology found that alcohol consumption was associated with increased risk of age-related macular degeneration, particularly in people who drank regularly. More directly, alcohol consumed at night competes with the antioxidant processes your retina relies on during sleep. You're sending your eyes into their repair cycle with the cleanup crew missing half their tools. Mistake 2. Drinking coffee or black tea in the evening. Caffeine raises cortisol, disrupts deep sleep, and suppresses melatonin production. Since melatonin is one of your retina's primary nighttime antioxidants, anything that suppresses it directly impacts your eye repair cycle. If you're drinking coffee after 2 p.m., you're likely reducing your melatonin window, and your eyes are paying the price, silently, over years. Mistake 3. Sugary drinks before bed. Juice, soda, sweetened teas, anything that spikes your blood sugar before bed puts your retinal blood vessels through a glycation wave right at the moment they should be resting and recovering. As I explained above, even without diabetes, this is a chronic, slow form of ocular damage that accumulates over decades. Mistake 4. Nothing at all. Many people assume that not eating or drinking before bed is always the healthiest choice. For your weight and digestion, that's largely true. But your eyes are one organ that actually benefits from going into the night with a specific set of fat-soluble nutrients in circulation. The overnight window is the most important delivery window. If you skip it, your eyes are doing their repair work without the materials they need most. Consistent omission over years is how preventable vision decline happens. I want to be honest with you the same way I am with my own patients. You will not wake up tomorrow seeing better. That's not how biology works. What happens with consistent intake of the compounds in this drink is a gradual, cumulative, protective, and reparative process. The research on saffron showed measurable retinal improvements at the 3-month mark. Lutein and zeaxanthin macular pigment studies show increased pigment density over 4 to 6 months of consistent supplementation. Curcumin's anti-inflammatory effects begin within weeks, but compound significantly over months. This is a long-game strategy. The Japanese don't have low obesity rates because they ate well once. They eat consistently, every day, for their entire lives. Eye health works the same way. The people I see in my clinic at 75 with the sharpest vision, the clearest lenses, the healthiest maculae, they've been doing the right things for decades. Start tonight. Make it a habit. Your eyes are already working through the night to repair themselves. All you're doing is giving them what they need to do it properly. Here's everything we covered. Your eyes do their most critical repair work during sleep, cycling through the retinal pigment epithelium repair process and pulling antioxidants and nutrients from your bloodstream for hours after you fall asleep. The best bedtime drink for eye health is warm golden milk with 4 key components: curcumin from turmeric plus black pepper for bioavailability, lutein and zeaxanthin delivered in a fat-containing vehicle, saffron's crocin and quercetin compounds shown in clinical trials to improve retinal cell function, and tryptophan from warm milk to support natural melatonin production and overnight antioxidant activity. Ceylon cinnamon stabilizes overnight blood sugar, protecting your retinal blood vessels from glycation damage. Drink it 30 to 45 minutes before bed at a gentle simmer, never boiling, to preserve the active compounds. Avoid alcohol, evening caffeine, and sugary drinks before bed. All 3 actively interfere with your eye's overnight repair process. And be patient. 3 to 6 months of consistency is where the research shows meaningful results. The damage didn't happen overnight. The repair won't either. But every night you drink this, you're giving your eyes exactly what they need to fight back. If this was useful, please share it with someone you care about who's worried about their vision, or who has a family history of macular degeneration, cataracts, or glaucoma. These are the people this information can genuinely help. And subscribe if you haven't. I cover evidence-based strategies for protecting your long-term health in every video I post. Your vision is something you use every single waking second of your life. It deserves to be protected every sleeping second too.